How much can you make on Algorand's Tinyman LPs in the new age of Algorand staking? Well, we put it to the test. We doing the experiment, and some of you, for channel members, you got this a little bit early, but now we are going to talk about the results of my experiment in Tinyman LPs post Algorand staking. It's a little bit different, so stick around. We're going to get into that today. But if you like this kind of stuff, you like these experiments, please hit that like and subscribe button. We aim to bring you the best, the latest in Algorand and other utility coin news, as well as running experiments, trying things out, and letting you know how they go. So check that out. Also, I have channel members. Like we said, channel members got this video before anyone else. They got this particular video first, and they got early results on the experiment before anyone else. So definitely go check that out. Become a channel member today. Become one of the Frugalnauts. And also, we are brought to you by non-fungible domains. If you want that .algo address that makes doing everything in Algorand so much easier, check that out in the link below. They've got vaults, segments, all kinds of really great stuff. I love using them. I think it's one of the best companies on Algorand, frankly. So go check them out in the description below. And we are brought to you by Marcus Aurelius. That's right, an NFT meme coin project on the Algorand blockchain. They are spreading the wisdom of Stoicism. Stoicism has played an important part of my life, especially this year with a lot of change. And so this is why you're getting a video on Wednesday. I'm not at my day job anymore. I'm doing YouTube and Substack full time. So also do have a Substack you should check out. I got to get better at updating that though, for sure. But now I'm going to have the time to do it. So anyway, big shout out to our sponsors, non-fungible domains and Marcus Aurelius. But let's get to this experiment. So if you don't know what I'm talking about Tinyman, which is one of the oldest platforms on Algorand. It's been around not exactly since day one, but I think Yieldly came first, and I used Yieldly on day one, and well, that one didn't go so well. But Tinyman has withstood the test of time, and it is here. And let's try it out. Let's take a look first. All right, so this is the swap screen on Tinyman. This is where you start everything, where you can flip stuff around. Also, we have pools, and so LP pools. These are things I've been doing for a very long time. As you know, this was part of my DeFi experiment going back a couple of years now. Unfortunately, a lot of those early videos were a NifGen exclusive, which never quite got off the ground for various reasons. So I lost a lot of those videos, unfortunately. But the general result is that I found that USDC algo was the most stable LP. You earned pretty good, fees from it. You also earn rewards. So now the most recent one I'm in is T-Algo USDC. And you do that by first you go to stake and you enter your algo. And when you enter that, you get T-Algo in exchange for an current APR of 6.85%. I don't know how big that is on your screen, but that's the number that it reads. And then there's other options. Now they say 6.85% plus 147.22%. And I think to get that, I had a hard time finding ones. I'm sure they're in there somewhere. But the main thing is you probably have to stake to a very volatile and unknown asset. They usually have to offer those big APRs to get people to use them. And the thing is, what we found with the experiment is you tend to lose more in asset depreciation than you're gaining from rewards. So I really recommend sticking with well-known coins. I like to have a stable coin in there too. USDC algo is my favorite, and that's kind of what we're doing here. So I'll show you that in a second. There's also, you can stake it for ST algo for even more rewards. Restaking, I believe they call it here. I haven't done any of that, and I don't plan to because I'm doing the LPs. So why don't we go back to it now? The farming program tabs. As soon as that loads up, it takes a while. You have a lot of options here. So you got T-Algo, C-Algo. I think C-Algo is one of the other staking coins from one of the other liquid staking. T-Algo Coop, T-Algo Squad. You'll see a theme. It's all T-Algo. M-Algo is the Messina one. X-Algo is the Folks Finance one. You can do EXA. You can get extra rewards, and there's really high APRs. That's just straight up algo though. So I guess they do. Yeah, I mean, there's still algo USDC and some other ones, but I'm mostly doing T-Algo and USDC. So I used to use USDC algo. That was my favorite one. And you can see the farming APR is pretty low now. It's 6.83%. You probably get more. Should we look at this? It's not going to keep your place, by the way. Yeah, the pool APR is pretty good. It's like 40%. And I'll tell you make good fees on that. So if you just wanted to put it in and you were just focused on growth, that's not a bad way to go, honestly. That's just regular algo. That's not T-Algo. So why don't I just go back to my positions? I've got this chips one left over from an experiment, but yeah, T-Algo USDC, this is what I'm in. There's the value here. Yeah, I'm in 5 figures now with that. And this is how much, so we're gonna go into the spreadsheet This is, I tend to let these accumulate because I'm taking profit every day from the rewards instead of reinvesting them, which is what I did for years on Tinyman. Years and years of doing that and growing it. This is pretty accurate. You'll see 682. I think that's what mine comes to. So, and then what you do, you get a little, your active farm is down here. When you haven't done it, let's go to the page here. When you haven't done it, there'll be a little, add to the rewards kind of thing. They've been going down a little bit. We'll see. You'll see that they've kind of fluctuated over time. And that kind of depends on how much, like what percent of the pool you have. So the more percent of the pool you have, the more rewards. And the rewards are in Tiny now. All the rewards are in Tiny. And that's because targeted DeFi went away. So that canceled when Algorand went with node staking. So all the rewards are in node staking now and not in funding LPs or any stuff. So that was nice. I mean, it was kind of nice because when the price of algo went up, you started making like tons. Like I'm getting about, well, we'll get to that. I was getting like 12, 13, 14 bucks a day on my LPs. That's like getting pretty close to paying my monthly mortgage, which is exceedingly low because of where I live. But yeah, let's switch over to my spreadsheet. So this is the tracking I did, and let's see how that is. Yeah, you can see it. I can probably move it over a little bit there. And so this is early on, I did a little experiment, and then I just decided to go all in because I like the APR. So this is the APR daily just from the rewards. So this is not pool fees. In fact, let me just walk through this left to right. So the current value, this is the value every day, and that's based on the fluctuation of the price of algo. Obviously USDC stays the same, so this value, like, it still fluctuates, but not nearly as much as if you had two volatile assets. And if you have ASAs, this will change a lot on a daily basis. Trust me, I know, because I did the experiment for like a year. Total reward. So now this is in dollars, the total amount of Tiny I'm getting for this amount. And then this is the fee. Actually, I put average total. I have to change that. I just realized I have that labeled wrong, but yes, this is and what I do, this little number here, I've just been keeping track because I'm not changing the pool every day because I'm not reinvesting every day. So that number just accumulates. So I've been trying to keep track basically how much. So if I go here, you can't see it. Maybe if I move it, there you go. Now you can see it. Yeah, 641. Actually, I don't need to do that. So you can see on the bottom here, 641 is the average. So that's pretty close to what Tinyman said. And I had a pool before, so it probably changed that a little bit. So it's pretty close. Yeah, so about $6.40 a day on fees. And then what am I averaging? And about $5.29 on average for rewards. Now I had one day where actually, why is that zero? Oh, it's zero because the problem is that the cycles last a month. And there's always a period of time between the old cycle and the new cycle before it kicks in. So you're gonna have a day where you don't get rewards, and that's important to take into account because this would actually, if you look at the numbers, I mean, clearly the average would be much higher. Most days are like close to $6. So you can tell that 0 day really brings down your average, and spread out over a month, that won't be as significant. So what I did here, this is just the reward. This here is just the reward APR. So that's not having anything to do with the fees I'm getting. This is just rewards. And you can see it's not bad. 18, 21, 22, 23, 10, one day kind of low. Is that the 0 day? No, this is the 0 day. So yeah, you're still getting fees because if you have the LP in, you're still getting fees because you're getting the fees from people swapping. You're providing liquidity for people swapping. So that's the deal there. And I know a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people know that. This strategy, by the way, I mean, this is really the gold rush versus selling shovels. There's an old phrase, the people who did really well in the gold rush, some of the people that did really well were people who ran supply shops. And for the actual Alaskan gold rush, they would run these shops in Seattle, so they didn't have to be on the front. And then there were other people that ran businesses like in the field and helping people because people would forget things or stuff would break. The people who did really well for merchants serviced the gold rush people. It's interesting. So that's what that strategy means. Maybe I'm going on a little bit of a tangent. And then what I did here is I went through and calculated the total APR with the two mixed together. And finally this morning I put together the formula so I don't have to calculate it by hand every time, which is nice. Spreadsheet formulas are really easy, by the way. Good thing to learn. And then this one this is just straight up Tinyman. So this is the number of Tiny tokens I've gotten. And yeah, you can see today's is pretty low, and it looks like tomorrow will be actually an all-time low unless you count the 0 day, which for being complete, I should probably put that on there. And we can get an average of that too on the bottom. Yeah, that's 139 average. So we're actually below average a little right now. And that's why, you know, that's why it's $5.30 versus $6. So you might be wondering why. Let's go back to Tinyman. I like that thing. You might be wondering, okay, why, BC, why are you doing Tiny versus other stuff? Why aren't you running a node? Whatever. First off, I think this liquid staking has options that I'm making more from this than I would running a node. And that seems pretty clear to me. I don't see any way around that. I mean, we're talking, you saw the numbers, you know, we're talking 30, 40%. Actually, let's get an average of that, because I don't think I did that. Total APR, and this is over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days. It averaged like 42%. Like, that's pretty good. You're not going to get that. You're going to get like 6, 8, 7. I've heard around 7% right now for most people running nodes. So yeah, this is obviously better. And now why do I care about the rewards? That's another good question. I like that they're separated because I like having cash flow coming in. Now, when I was building, I might not have cared about that as much. I just flipped them around anyway. That's what I was doing. Every time I would take rewards, I'd, you know, do whatever swapping I needed to and put them back in the LP. Because I was in a growth phase, I was making more than enough money. But now that I'm on my own, I like the idea of having this little extra bit of cash flow. It's kind of looking like I might not need it. So it might get to the point where I start putting back in. But when you start a business and you no longer have a steady paycheck, and your paycheck relies on what you get from YouTube and sponsors and stuff, it's nice to have a little extra cash source of income to, you know, make you feel a little bit better. So yeah, that's why I'm doing that. And I think it's a good strategy. I'm pretty happy with liquid staking rewards. I've heard the Folks Finance one is really good too, but I've been a big Tiny fan, so I like the way it works. I missed the old rewards because I think I did a lot better, but this is still pretty good. And you know, the one Tiny has stayed pretty stable. I want to show you one more thing. Yeah, so Tiny at 0.3866, and it's kind of been that way. This might not look great, and this might look like kind of a volatile chart, but you can see that it stayed in a pretty solid range. You know, it did fall down to a little bit below 3 cents, but it's generally been between 3 and actually 6 cents. I would say more like 3 and 5 cents typically. You can see it's just kind of stayed in that range since its beginning. So, I mean, it's had a couple times when it fell below, but it's really stayed in this range, which is unusual for an ASA. So I like that it's solid, but I think that's probably because there's a lot of use case for it. It's the coin of a giant platform, and the platform seems to be doing pretty good. There's always platform risk. Ask me about AlgoStake sometime. That was during our experiment. AlgoStake went under, and so it was a good window to be careful. But that's why I'm getting rewards in Tiny, but I don't necessarily. I could do the T-Algo Tiny pool, and I think the APR is a lot higher, but I just don't quite trust that. So anyway, that is now all this has to, by the way, it has to do with your level of risk. What level of risk are you comfortable with? I'm comfortable with those LPs on Tinyman, and that's about as far as I want to go. There probably are higher opportunities if you're willing to take more risk, but that risk is there. So you could stake, you could do an LP, Tiny LP, and it would be more risky, but it's been pretty good. So it's maybe not that much more risky, but you know, it's still risky, I think. So it's something to keep in mind. But I hope you guys enjoyed this experiment. I like walking through these things, and I think this is one of the more valuable things that I do. I know they don't always get as many views as some of the other videos that I make, but I think they're important, and I think people like these breakdowns. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. You know, otherwise, yeah, let me know. Or what are you doing? Are you running a node, or are you doing liquid staking, and how's it going for you? Let me know in the comment below. Otherwise, I'm Frugal BC, and I will see you in the future.